Good morning, beautiful people of the world. Good morning. It is Thursday, May 22nd, 2025. Let me hurry up with this garage door. The fumes be strong in this garage from the car. It's another wet, damp day in the Shy. Oh, that garbage look nasty. This alley is bomb. They must have had a flood. I got my jacket in here. Turn the alarm on. All right, let's rock and roll. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. How are you guys? This wonderful Throwback Thursday. Let's throw it all the way back, y'all. Let's throw it back, throw it back. So it's a good day to be in the land of the living. It's a good day, it's a good day. I hope you all are doing well. I hope you're doing swell. I hope that so far you have had a great week. I did a video yesterday and I did not look. I was rushing. I'll look when I get off of here. I do not know if it uploaded or not. I will upload it. Sometimes I feel like YouTube takes forever. It took forever to upload. And I feel like YouTube do that on purpose so you can't make your money. I do. All of these social media platforms, when they have to pay you, to me, I just feel like it's just scam. Honestly, I do. That's just my opinion. You may not agree, but if you are a YouTube content creator over here, you know what I'm talking about. You know. But sometimes that's how I feel, you know? That's just how I feel. Come on, come on, come on. And I could be, possibly could be a little wrong, but I don't think I am. I don't think so. 3 days in a row it's been raining. Jesus. What's going on? What kind of weather you all having? What kind of weather you all having in y'all town? Yes, I put this back on because I had the baseball cap on the last 2 days. I was tired of wearing that cap on my head. My head was kind of hurting a little bit. It hurt a little bit now where I got this comb. I might have to readjust this comb. I called my stylist up last night. I said, Kim, I said, do you have any openings for tomorrow? She was like, yeah. I was like, cool. She was like, okay, you want to come tomorrow? I said, yes, I want to come tomorrow. I said, because for one, my head is itching like crazy. It needs to be washed. And I want to get that other ponytail and put it on here. But I just popped this on today. I don't care about this getting wet because it's synthetic, you know. I don't care. But I had to take that hat off. The hat was getting on my nerve. I didn't put my jacket on. Trying to get out the door. Trying to get out the door and get here to get a freaking fracking parking spot. I have asked them over and over and over again to let me start to change my hours. I do not understand. I don't understand. I just do not understand. But anyway, one of my good girlfriends that I went out with, her son is going on prom tomorrow. And I'm supposed to go down there and see him go on prom, but I don't know if I'm gonna make it or not. Gotta see, as that little boy say. I gotta see. So yesterday, my video was about mental health. Today we're gonna talk about memories. I want you to put down in the comment section your favorite memory. You have a throwback memory since we can't you all can't. Where you going? Where is you going? Damn. You over here, you over there, you over here. Where you going? I don't this is what I just don't understand about people. If you driving and you know that you want to get in the turning lane, get in the fucking turn lane. And now he about to make the person behind him miss the error. Just dumb. Sometimes I be wondering, like, what do people be thinking about when they driving? Like, do you realize that you cause an accident by you not being in the right lane? These people in Chicago. Oh, speaking of Chicago, one of my subscribers, D, asked me if I would, if I was willing to do a video about the life growing up in Chicago. So because it is Throwback Thursday, I thought that this would be a great topic to talk about on today. So for you guys, if you all have a throwback memory, it could be your childhood, it could be something that happened not too long ago, or something that happened, decades ago that you remember. If you remember it, write it in the comment section. I would love to read your throwback memories. Like I said, I can post pictures, but there's no way for you all to post pictures under my post. Like on Facebook, if you say post a picture, people can put a picture in the comment section. YouTube don't have that feature. I don't understand why, but they don't. But anywho, so to piggyback off of these requests, I'm going to talk about life growing up in Chicago. What life was like growing up in this inner city. So I'll start here. I grew up in Chicago. Well, let me back up. I'm trying to get it together. I was born in Chicago, Illinois. I was raised in Chicago, and I'm an adult still living in Chicago. I've never lived anywhere else but Chicago. I have visited many, many cities. I've been out of the country several times, but I have never lived anywhere else but Chicago. I grew up as a little black girl in Chicago, in the inner city, on the south side of Chicago, in a neighborhood called Jeffrey Manor. This neighborhood was a Navy base. It was a naval base, and what they once, I guess somebody, I don't know how they came about, but they turned the naval base into housing for veterans. And so they built houses, and they built the neighborhood. The neighborhood over in Jeffrey Manor has got all these twists and turns, not where my mom lived, but in other parts. It's always been the most confusing place whenever somebody has tried to come to our house. We have to give them, had to give them clear directions on how to get there. They didn't have MapQuest, and they didn't have the naval, what you have now. But I grew up in Chicago. I was born here in Chicago. I was born at a hospital called Chicago Lion Inn. It's now called University of Chicago, which I ended up working at. But I grew up as Sherelle Levette Cotton. That's my government name. And I grew up in a two-parent home. My mother and father were married, and I have one sibling, and her name is Cherie. Her names is Cherie and Sherelle. Everybody thought that we were twins because my mother used to dress us alike so much, but we're not. My sister's 3 years older than me, and she's 3 years older than me. So my mother and father only had 2 children, 2 girls, and we had a dog. We always had a dog. We had a dog named Cindy, and I'll never forget when we got this dog. I loved Cindy. She was a German Shepherd. The lady next door named Justine, and her 2 daughters, Brenda and BJ. BJ's name was Barbara. Their cousin or somebody dog had some puppies, and they brought the puppies over, and it was Cindy and Heidi. I'll never forget that. 2 dogs, Cindy and Heidi. And we took Cindy, and they took Heidi. And I don't think they kept Heidi as long as we kept Cindy. But I had to be about 6 years old when we got Cindy. And it was so funny that my mother named the dog Cindy, but my name originally was supposed to be Cynthia. But my father loved the singing group, the Shirelles. If you remember who the Shirelles were, they were a black singing group, like all these female groups that are out now or came up in the 80s and 90s. All of those groups originated from the Supremes, the Shirelles, and all of those 50, 60 singing groups. So my father had a crush on one of the singers in the group called the Shirelles. So he named me Sherelle. And my sister's name, there's a story behind how she got her name, Cherie. But nobody ever, our names was unique and different. And nobody knew how to pronounce our names. I've been called everything but Sherelle. And how CC came about was because I got 2 C's for my first and last name. And people could not pronounce Sherelle. So I just had everybody started calling me CC. And that's how that came about. But I grew up in this city all my life. I've been here all my life. And it was a wonderful place to grow up. It was safe. We grew up in a neighborhood where everybody knew everybody. There was a lot of kids on the block. And we had a good time. We had a really good time. I had a great childhood on that block. And we just, we wasn't wild kids, but we did our thing. You know what I'm saying? We did what we did, But we had a good time. Like I said, came from a 2-parent home. My mother was a stay-at-home mother for 9 years. She went back to work when I was 9. And she went to college. She got an associate's and a bachelor's degree. My father worked for a furniture company. This car having trouble. That's why I got over here. My father worked for a furniture company called Stevens Beddings. And he worked there for all of my childhood, all the way up until I was teenager. No, I was grown when he got laid off from that job. But he had worked there forever. And this furniture, he worked for a furniture company where he delivered furniture. He worked in the warehouse. And all of our furniture came from Stevens Beddings. And our living room, that's when they made furniture, like real wood, not this stuff that you get from IKEA that break apart, that's this cardboard. So my father and mother, they always got the furniture from Stevens Beddings because he was an employee. He got a discount for little of nothing. Our beds came from there, our dressers, the living room furniture, the dining room table. I mean, everything. My mother still has the original dining room table that came from Stevens Beddings, and that was, over 40 some years ago, and she still has, she still got that furniture, So, anywho, There was a lot of kids on the block, and we had a good time. And it just wasn't like it is now. You could go outside, you could walk the block, you could walk around the corner. We used to get in groups and go bike riding. We would go bike riding. Everybody had a bike. I remember, kids would fight over, let me ride your bike. Oh, she ain't gonna let me ride her bike. And so people would fall out about that. My mama said, I can't let nobody ride my bike. And we played a lot of games as kids. We played, I never could play this game, but it's a ball, and I don't even know where you can find it. It's a ball and it's some jacks. So you all that were born in 1970 or before, you all know what I'm talking about. You might. I don't know if it was a Chicago thing or if it was a thing that was done in other cities, in other neighborhoods, but it's a ball. And you would take the ball, you would bounce the ball, and then you would pick up the jacks, these silver jacks, and you picked up the ball. And you're supposed to get the ball and the jacks, so many of the jacks, so many of the ball at the same time. I got to ask my sister. My sister was good at that. I asked my sister, what was the name of that game? Everybody played this game. You took the silver little thing, and you spread them out, and then you put the ball in the middle, and you bounce the ball. Then you pick up the jacks, bounce the ball, pick up the jack, and you had to get all of the silver little jacks. You had to get them all in your hand, and you would win. I never was able to master that, but my sister, she could jam on that game. One of the things that my neighborhood did a lot was we played double dutch. If you from Chicago or any other major inner city, if you was black in the hood, you was gonna play some double dutch, honey. Oh, you was gonna play some double dutch. And baby, I was good at double dutch. It took me a while. I've always had coordination issues, seriously. But it took me a while to get the double dutch. But I practiced and practiced and practiced. And I can't do it because I'm driving. But the way we would do it, we would have different songs for double dutching. And you'd be like this trying to get in the rope. You'd be trying to wait for that rope to come, to swing back so you could get in and jump in. Baby. Okay, y'all, hold on a minute. I'm trying to figure out where you got your blinker on, but you can't go nowhere. So what did you do? I can't get around him into this car. Okay. Thank you. So you would be they'd be like, stop digging. And digging was that you was taking too long to get into the rope. They'd be like, stop digging, get in. And you would jump rope, and you would be going at it, baby. And that was the game too. They'd be like, okay, do the pop-ups. And you had to do the pop-ups where you jumped up and down. And then you swung your legs that way. And if you had that's another thing they would fight about too, about the double dutch rope. The double dutch ropes, we would buy those at this store where it was it was really a rope for you to hang your clothes on, like a clothesline rope. But it was a rope, it was thick. You ever get hit with one of them ropes? I've gotten hit with one of them ropes playing double dutch where the rope slapped me in the face. Oh, you talking about painful. Had a big old whip on my face. But double dutch was the thing. And now in Chicago, they have brought double dutch back. They call it the 40 and over club. Playing double dutch. And I don't know if you all have called it double dutch where you all were. I don't know. But that was a Chicago thing. That really was a Chicago thing. Double Dutch was a Chicago thing. You weren't Chicago if you didn't know how to play double Dutch, baby. You couldn't live in this city and not know how to jump rope. You had to know. You had to learn how to jump rope. And honey, they kept on, and I was like, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, slow it down. Y'all turning too fast. Y'all turning too fast. So you could play double Dutch, and then they had this other one where they would make the rope be the single rope, and you would just be doing the pop-ups, you know. And it was a real art because, you know, when you had to turn, they knew all types of tricks to make that rope go this way, go that way. You go on YouTube, you can look at all of that. But that was our thing. You couldn't live on our block and not play double Dutch. You couldn't be a young person in the city of Chicago in my time where people did not play double Dutch. Every neighborhood played rope in the summertime. We couldn't wait for the summer. The summers were the best time. Like I said, we went bike riding. We would ride our bikes all up to the lakefront. You know, places that we shouldn't have been, but we were there. And girl, we just had we had a ball. I'm telling you, we had a ball. What was another big thing that we used to do? Oh, we used to do dance battles, and the latest songs that would come out or whatever, we would do a dance battle like they do now. They think dance battles just happen. No, baby, dance battles been going on for a minute, and everybody knew the latest dances. And y'all know, I told y'all I was the queen of R&B and dancing, honey. They always wanted me to dance because I can get down. I'm for real. And I'm trying to think, what is another about the life, growing up in Chicago. What was life like growing up in Chicago? I would really have to say that it was the best time of my life. My childhood was the best time of my life. Even being a teenager was good. I went to Chicago Vocational High School, which was a vocational high school that taught you a trade. And they need to bring that back. They really do. All this crap that they teaching these kids now, they don't even use that. But we learned a trade in high school. We learned a trade. So then we went from high school, we could go right out and get a job. And so many people that I graduated with in my alumni own plumbing businesses and electrician businesses. And they know how to do stuff because, you know, we learned that. We learned a trade. And high school was the best time. It was the ball. I had a ball in high school. I had a great time in high school, you know. And my grammar school years was kind of funky a little bit because I told you all about how I experienced racism, you know, so early. Now you just stupid for that. I experienced racism so early in my life, you know. So, you know, that was kind of something that I didn't really, that was kind of traumatic for me. But get that spot down there today. So, but I must say I had a great childhood. I had two parents that really loved me and cared about me, and they gave my sister and I everything we wanted. Christmas time was the best time. Oh my God, everything I wanted, my mother and father made sure I got it. I grew up in a middle class family, you know. I never knew, of course, because I didn't know, because I was a child and, you know, they didn't tell me, but I never knew how, you know, much or how badly my mother and father struggled financially, you know, to feed us. And not so much to feed us, but, you know, they had bills, you know, like everybody, like now. And what they thought was hard then is nothing like what it is today. And that's kind of like the disappointing part about living in Chicago now. It's very expensive to live here now, as it is in most metropolitan cities. It's expensive. You know, it's expensive. It's expensive. You know, and it's expensive. That's what that's all I can. I mean, it is. It's just, it's expensive to live here. And I had a great childhood, though. I had a great childhood. Chicago has the best food. We always, somebody, oh, one of the memories I remember about growing up in Chicago, and if you're from Chicago or from anywhere, you probably have experienced this too. There was always somebody on the block that sold candy. We had a candy store. We had a lady who sold candy. And honey, we would go to the candy store. And I don't know if you all remember them little strawberry cookies. You can find them now. But you had to have a pickle, a sour pickle, and a peppermint stick down in your pickle. That was the thing. That was the Chicago thing too. But it might not be. It might, you know, other cities probably do the same thing. And I'm trying to think. What's up, handsome? What's up, handsome?
What's going on, CC?
How you doing?
I'm all right. How you doing?
I'm doing all right. They working you hard.
They tried to.
This place is a joke.
Right.
It's a joke. Have a good day, Fred.
You too, baby.
All right. So there was a candy store on every block. There was a candy store. And you know, you went down with your little dollar, your 10 cent. And I'll never forget the lady on the corner. She had a candy store. And the thing about having a candy store, nobody, like, that wasn't a big thing that you sold candy. You know, nobody turned you in or said, oh, she's selling candy. You know, none of that. Because everybody had a candy store. Everybody in every neighborhood. All the kids knew what a candy store was. Nobody sells candy out of their house no more. Because you can't. You can't sell candy out your store. Can't sell candy out your store. I mean, you can't sell candy out of your house. And the candy stores used to be somebody on the block sold candy. And I remember the lady across the street from me. She had, you know, you would go to her house, and you'd have to go to the back door, and she had a note up there. The times that that the candy store would be open. We would go up there. We like, Dad, she ain't open. And all you needed was $1. That's all you needed. You go get you that dill pickle. That sour pickle. Man, please, you couldn't tell us nothing. And the thing that we used to say a lot back in Chicago in the 70s and 80s, if you didn't want nobody, if you wanted something or somebody's like some chips or whatever, you'd be like, Cobbs. And they'd be like, no Cobbs. I never knew what that meant. I guess that meant no, you can't have none. But that was the thing we used to say. And when we were little growing up, we used to play a lot of hide and seek, and we had the person that was the lookout person, We go hiding and everything. We played a lot of games. I remember one, I could never get this either. We used to play this game where you got in a circle like a 5 people and you hit hands. Tweet, tweet, tweet-a-lee-lee, tweet, tweet, tweet. And you go, and then you hit this person's hand, hit that person, and you go under, go up top. I never could get that. Did y'all play that? I never got that. I never could get it. I'm telling you, I had coordination problems. I had coordination problems. Ooh, child, I had coordination problems. Coordination. Well, life growing up in Chicago was a good time. I had some tragic things that happened to me. I told you all how my mother was the Girl Scout leader for this Girl Scout troop, and how the man who was the maintenance man was the maintenance man for the field house, how he was murdered in front of us. I told you all that story. That was horrific. That is something that I will never, ever, ever forget. I'm pretty sure that his killer is dead by now, because he's probably the same age as my mama or older. They had 5 children, and she was pregnant. And he killed the husband and the wife. And the kids were across the park. And that was the worst. That sound I will never get out of my ear. I will never get that sound out, how he pumped that rifle, the sound of that rifle. Oh my God. Whew, Lord Jesus. I have recently went on and tried to look that story up. They wanted my mother to testify. She wouldn't. She refused. She wouldn't do it. My mother saw the whole thing. She saw him shoot him. And she had us hit the floor. My mother is an amazing woman. And she made us go into the bathroom. The bathroom didn't have a handle for you to hold the bathroom door closed. It was just so eerie talking about it. It was 2-3 stalls in there, and you have to push the stall, push out, and we were in there, and I had started to cry, and they put their hand over my mouth. He knew we were in that bathroom. He knew that we were in that bathroom. And when I think about how my mom, could have been killed, he could have came in there and made my mother come out, and could have killed my mother, but my mother should have got some type of award from the city or something, because she gathered up all them girls and made us go hide in that bathroom, because she saw him. Because when he shot him, the wife pulled up and she saw him shooting her husband, and I don't know why she got out the car, but she did. But when he saw the wife, she ran up in the field house. I don't know, and she was pregnant. And I don't know why she ran up into the field house, but she did. And when she ran up in the field house, he came in there and he killed her too. He shot her. She ran up in the field house, and he came around with that rifle. And the whole reason why he shot this couple was because we had a young lady in the Girl Scout troop who's was a part of our troop. This was her father. And the reason why he killed the field house maintenance man and the wife was because the girl's mother was being physically abused by the father who killed them. And they helped the mother, and gave the mother a place to stay with her kids. And he resented that. And he was pissed about that. And she ended up going back to him, the wife. And he was mad. And he did not like the fact. And this couple was from Jamaica. They had a very, they were either African or Jamaican. They had an accent. And like I said, they had already had 3 or 4 children. She was pregnant again. And the kids were way across the park and saw him. So those kids, because they were older than me, so those kids are well up into their, right, they probably in their 60s, maybe 70s now. Because the boy, the oldest boy, he was like 13, 14, something like that. And then he had 2 sisters or 3 sisters up under him. Like I said, she was on baby number 5, if I'm not mistaken. He came there and he shot her and killed her. So when he came in and shot her and killed her, he knew that we were in that bathroom, because he knew every Saturday we had the Girl Scout meeting in the park field house. He knew my mother was up in there, but he had no beef. You know what I'm saying? He had no beef with my mama. So, but he could have come up in there. He could have killed us all, you know. And I sometimes I think about that, you know. Y'all wouldn't know CC, because he could have killed me, you know, and my mama and all them little girls, you know. Whew, it was traumatic, and I'll never forget. I mean, girl, it was so, and I'll never forget. We had to come, and this is to tell you how things are different than they were then. When the police got there, because of course the people in the neighborhood called the police, because it was like this. It was broad daylight. It was at 10 o'clock in the morning, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. It wasn't at night, it was daylight. So they called the police. The lady who lived next door to the park, because you had the park and you had 2 houses on each side, she called the police. And I'll never forget, when we walked about the field house, instead of them taking these little kids, these girls, because we were all between, I was the youngest, I was a brownie, because I really technically wasn't old enough to be a Girl Scout in a Girl Scout troop, so I was a brownie. But these girls were 11, 12, 13, 14. Instead of them taking these kids around the other way, they didn't do that. So when they came in, and see, this is why experiencing that trauma that I experienced, when I hear about kids being killed in schools and all that goes on with this, it takes me back to that place of what happened to me when I was 7 years old. You know, I was so young. But they took us out of the building, and we had to walk past, not up close, but we had to walk past this man. I will never in my life forget what this man was laying on the ground with a big hole in his chest. I had never seen that much blood. And I mean, he pumped bullets into him. It was unbelievable. And what he did was the guy was out cleaning up in the park, and he was out cleaning up in the park, and the man came. They lived across the street from the park. He came over with his rifle, and my mother was standing up. We were sitting down on the benches. My mother was talking, and she saw him. And I could see my mother's face. I'm looking at my mother's face. And you know how you look at a person's face and you see the horror? And I'm looking at my mother's face, and so you hear them, they started arguing. And he was saying to him, you know, something. And you heard profanity. And then the field house man was like, man, you know, what's up? You know, what are you doing? What's up? And baby, he took that rifle, he pumped them bullets. And they made us walk past. They didn't have him covered up or nothing. And to this day, I didn't understand Chicago police. You know, I didn't understand them. My father ended up coming up there, and my aunt. And because my grandparents didn't live too far from there, so it took like my father 5 or 10 minutes to get there, and he was with his sister. And I'll never forget, this song was on the radio called I could not listen to this song for years, and the song is an old song. And I don't know, can't remember the group that it's by, but the song went like this: backstab in the middle. And it was talking about love or something. For years, whenever that song would come on the radio, I couldn't listen to it, because I associated that song with the trauma that I had just witnessed, you know. I have had some trauma in my life. I seriously have. You know, I told you all about my grandparents being viciously murdered. My god sister was murdered. My cousins from the other side of my family, they were murdered. The mama, the daughter, and the little girl, my cousin's daughter's boyfriend murdered them. I mean, I have, and my trauma started at that particular time in my life, when I watched this man, when I had to hear the gunshots, you know. And by the grace of God, I ain't lost my mind. Seriously, by the grace of God, I have not lost my mind. But I should have went for therapy for that. I should have went for therapy when my god sister was murdered, when my grandparents was murdered, when my cousin-in-laws were murdered. I mean, I've experienced some trauma. But besides witnessing that traumatic part of my life, where the field house maintenance guy and his wife were murdered, and having to see that, I couldn't even go up to that park. I didn't go up to that park for years. That park is not even the same kind of park. And since that murder, there's been about 2 or 3 other murders that has happened in that park, but it was gang related. But there was not a lot of violence in Chicago. And so when this happened in 1977, you didn't hear of stuff like that happening. You know, that was like a shock to our city, you know, when that happened. It was all on the news. Like I said, they wanted my mother to testify. My mother would not. She would not. But she did have to go to the police station and give a statement of what she saw. But she just, you know, and who knew that 20 years later, in 1986, or maybe it had not been 20 years, that in 1986, my mother would have to go through another horrible, horrific, tragic experience of knowing that her mother and her stepfather was killed, was murdered. I tell you, this is why I always say to you all, you know, I be on here and I be talking about I can't stand Trump and this, that, and I be saying stuff about him, whatever. But in all seriousness, now I'm going to tell y'all the truth. I loathe Trump. I cannot stand him. But I could never take another person's life. I just couldn't do it. I could if it was in self-defense, but I could never bring myself to kill somebody. I just couldn't. And it's because of what I've witnessed and what I've seen and what I've been through, you know. I just couldn't do it. But I will have to tell you all that growing up in Chicago and life in Chicago for me has been good. There is more crime here now than ever before. But it's a lot of young people doing this crime. It's a lot of carjackings here, which I haven't heard of anything lately. It's gangs here, robberies, you know, the stuff that happened in most cities, you know. But I had a good life in Chicago. And like I said, I ain't never lived nowhere else. And to be honest with you, I never really wanted to live anywhere else other than California. That's the only other place that I have ever really wanted to live was California. But all my family, most of my family is here in Chicago on both sides of the family. And you know, I had a good childhood. But one thing about Chicago, we used to have horrible winters here. And we just have crappy weather. Crappy weather. Like we having crappy weather now. But they used to give us snow days. Because, I mean, we used to get hit. We don't get that much snow now. It's just so cold here in Chicago. That's the only thing. It's just, I hate the weather here. I can tell you that. Like now, it's rainy. I'm like, okay, it's May. Normally around Memorial Day, man, it be hot. And we coming up to Memorial Day, and we gonna have a crappy Memorial Day. So, but I will say, I'm glad I grew up here in Chicago, because Chicago is a beautiful city. It's beautiful. It's a lot to do here, but it's expensive. It's expensive. But if you ever come to Chicago, it's a lot to do. Especially if you go downtown, if you go to like Navy Pier, Riverwalk, you know, it's pretty. So that's about it, y'all. That's about it. So those are my living in Chicago throwback memories. Besides experiencing that, you know, I think I could really say that was the only traumatic thing that I experienced being a child. But at 16, I lost both my grandparents to murder. And that's something that, you know, will stay with me forever. The anniversary of that was the Wednesday before Mother's Day recently. It's been 38 years, 36, 37 years. I was in high school when that happened. I was 16. So I've been out of high school for 30 plus some, because we just had our 30, well, we have our 30, what did we just have, our 33rd, 34th, 35th class reunion. So yeah, so that happened. So my grandparents been gone about that long. So yeah, so anywho, I'm going to upload this video. I hope you enjoyed that. And Dee, thank you for giving me the idea to do this, talking about life in Chicago. But life in Chicago right now for me, it's okay. I've been to a lot of cities. I've been to Atlanta. I've been to California. I like Atlanta. I really do. I've been to Atlanta twice. No, wait a minute. How many times have I been to Atlanta? 4 times, I think. I've been to Atlanta. And I like Atlanta. And that would be another place I would move to. California, been there. I've been to Las Vegas once. I've been to California once. Been to Atlanta 4 times. I've been to a few other cities. And then, like I said, I've been out of the country. I can't tell you how many times. But yeah, so that's it, you all. That's my story. That's my story. That's my story. So, you know, if I had to do it all over again, I would come right back to where I would come here. I love Chicago. The food here is good. The people aren't too rude. I want to go to New York. I've never been to New York. I want to go. So, yep, that's it, y'all. That's it. That's it. So y'all have an amazing Thursday. Tomorrow is Friday. Whew. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. I am ready for Friday. Damn, I wish today was Friday. I be looking for Friday like a fat kid looking for cake. For real. So you all have an awesome day. I hope that other video uploaded, but I'm finna upload this one now. Y'all have an amazing, peaceful, wonderful day. And we shall do it all again on tomorrow. Try to plug this phone up. There we go. So have a great day. I love you guys. I appreciate your love and your support. And I'll see you in the next CC's Fashion is My Passion YouTube video. All right? All right. God bless you. See you real soon. Bye.